Yes, I got it. Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. So I wasn't sure if it was going to work because a couple days ago I lost my hard drive. It just went belly up and everything is brand new. I had to download everything new. So I went to turn on the system and OBS just did not talk with YouTube. So I think I've sorted it. So part of the problem is the new version that I just downloaded of OBS is different than the old version, and everything's all new. So I did the wizard for connecting the stream keys, and it should have worked, but it didn't. So I went in and I did a different thing, and luckily it worked, because we could have been if this last thing didn't work, I'd be like, I don't know. Before when I set up OBS, I took me so long to figure it out. So I think it's actually easier to use now. But so there's now an option where you can connect OBS directly. And I didn't really want to do that, but well, I guess I had to. Oh well. Anyways, yes, it's working. Yay. Okay, so what's up? I hope you had a better week than me. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but the computer thing was a huge mess, and I've just been like really sleepy. Seat belts. Whoa. I think I missed a conversation here. Yes. So actually, I fell asleep. That was part of why I was late. I was like 5 minutes late, and then I went to hook up everything and it wasn't working. So, I mean, I did it all earlier. I did I don't know if you saw, but there was some weird live streams that had nothing on them because I was trying to find my stream key and I kept starting live streams by accident, and it was crazy. So yeah, my hard drive went out like Sunday, I think it was. So I have an account with Best Buy for repairs. So I pay like yearly, and then they're supposed to repair whatever I need. So I'm pretty sure it was the hard drive, and I bring it in and they said it's the hard drive. And then I don't know, it was just like, apparently there's a hard drive shortage. I don't think they're even lying, because I've heard that there's a memory shortage due to they're blaming it on what is it, AI hogging up all the memory chips or something? Okay, so then I had to pay for an even bigger hard drive than I had before, which I totally don't need. And then I go today to pick it up, and it's been like, today's Wednesday already? So it's been 3 days. And the guy, thank God they do a final plug-in check before he sends it out. And then he's like, oh, there's a complication. They didn't put the hard drive in. Like, it's supposed to be in after 3 days. It wasn't in there. So he's like, he goes into the back, and then out comes this like 18-year-old green-haired, scared nerd dude. And he looks like, ugh. And he's like, I don't know what happened. And he's looking at papers, there's notes and blah, blah. And I took it over from this other guy, and he was supposed to have done it. And you chicken scratching writing. I can't talk too much because mine looks like that too. So it was a big mess. So then I had to wait for them to go and put the hard drive in, and it was just ridiculous. So I guess everybody's all effed up. I don't know. They can't even get the hard drive in. So there we go. I was worried about this stream because I'm like, ugh. But only 5 minutes of nightmare. Okay, so what's that freaking bird thing? It's King Vulture. I think I had these on before, but they got even stupider looking. What am I to say? First, apparently they have this naked center part again. I don't know, why are these animals getting, or is that the neck? I don't know, because here it looks like it's just the chest thing, but then here it looks like it's his neck, like a cartoon neck. But I think that's just an illusion, and it's actually like that his head part is sunk down over this bald chest area. And this part is hilarious because it looks like it has one of those, like it looks like it has a scarf on. It looks like it has a feather scarf on. I mean, like, seriously? This one's, I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it. I mean, seriously, what is going, so it's, why would nature make this? So it's actually got full on purple on the head, and how is this efficient to have bunches of blobbly skin? And I think these are the nostrils. The nostrils are huge on this thing. I mean, this is not, so vultures used to have bald heads in my old timelines because so they could keep them clean from all the meat juices. But like all these wrinkles and stuff, that is not going to help. And why is his beak, it looks so small? And I don't know, maybe it continues on into the bumbly areas, but this was like ridiculous. So Jackie found this ridiculous thing. Looks like there's some variation in color because that one looks purple with red on the top. This one has more black. Oh, the cat's mad. What's wrong, kitty? Do you want to be on TV? Yes, you do. She says, no, I don't. I don't want to be on TV. This is the whiner kitty. Yes. So I don't want to talk to your invisible people. Here you go. You want to go out? Yeah, hold on. She wants to go out. All right, move it. You want to go out? Yeah, that was another thing. Apparently, this OBS does the lighting different because, like, this is the exact same video camera thing, and I think it's the camera hasn't changed settings, so I put it together the same way in OBS, and yet I'm like way lighter now, it looks like to me. Like my face, it's like the whole, like the backdrop here, it looks all gray now. So it's I don't know, like maybe I can change some settings or something because I look kind of washed out, and I'm not like reddish like I was before. I mean, there's not even that much light in here. It's kind of dark, so I don't know what's going on with that. But you know what? I was just sleepy today. I'm like, good enough. I'm done. Take a look at this thing. Was there like a smaller one flying in front? What is going on with this image? Like, ugh, that's not useful at all, is it? See, there's another. Was it going to turn purple there? Maybe only like the females or the males have that. I don't know what's going on. It's weird because it's almost like a continuation of the neck, like pushing out. What would be the point to that? They're gonna say, ugh. It looks like it has a weird dreadnought thing. This thing looks like it has like a face hugger stuck on it. What's up with these ears? I mean, I guess that's not the ears, but it looks like some kind of weird ears. Anyway, you know, look at this. The majestic king vulture. Seriously now? Majestic. It's not exactly the word I would choose. Let's see if there's anything weird about it. Yeah, so basically I kind of just like really quick got some stuff for the show, and then I had to take a huge long nap. I just couldn't, you know, I don't feel sick or anything. I just can't stay awake. I just feel like sleepy. There are two theories how King Vulture earned the king part. Because it's big. That would be the obvious answer. Or it's derived from Mayan legends. Okay. So this thing... Okay, Mexico and Argentina. There's another animal that was Northern California. This was not it then. The king has a noticeable orange fleshy carbuncle on its beak. Okay, so that's the beak bumbly bits are carbuncles. Carbuncles. Carbuncle is the fleshy excrescence that is normal part of the animal's anatomy, including wattles, combs, snoods, and earlobes. Carbuncle. All right, let's see if I can get this straight. Number 2 is, what is number 2? Now I gotta go and look and see what these things are, because there's so many creatures with this stuff now. Okay, what is that thing on the chest, though? I was kind of curious. All right, they're not endangered at all. Least concern means no problemo. Largest of the New World vultures, other than the condors. The head and neck are devoid of feathers. You know, there's no mention of that bump on their chest. That's weird. I don't see it. I gotta find out what those things are called. It looks like it's it looks like it has a huge tumor. This is not one of my favorite creations of the new creatures of this timeline. The freaking news says nothing about the massive coronal hole in the sun. I didn't hear anything about it. The coronal hole. The coronal hole in the sun. Coronal hole in the sun. Are regions on the sun surface where the magnetic field opens up into space, allowing high-speed solar wind to escape. These areas appear darker because they're cooler and less dense, although they are not physical holes. Opens into space. Magnetic field opens into space. So what does it connect up with a magnetic field in space? Form when magnetic field lines extends outwards into space instead of looping back to the sun. Okay. I've never really heard of those before. When a coronal hole faces Earth, it's high-speed solar. Okay, because I've heard of there being like storms or solar flares. What's the difference between a coronal hole and a solar flare? Coronal holes are more prominent during solar minimum, when large stable polar hole. So it's the opposite of a solar flare? Solar flare versus coronal hole. So I just remembered that the main danger was the solar flares. But the solar flares are usually around during minimum. Like the maximum. Solar flares are distinct solar phenomena with different origins. Solar flare, sudden intense burst of EM radiation. Okay, released from the sun's surface due to the rapid release of magnetic energies. in coronal hole, a region of the sun where the magnetic field lines are open, allowing high-speed streams of solar winds to escape into space. Those cause long-lasting periods of geomagnetic activity. What's the difference? Okay, it sounds like solar flare is like a shorter burst. One is a burst of EM radiation. One is a long-lasting period of more EM radiation, as best I can tell. Well, both can contribute to space weather and auroral displays. Solar flares are short-lived, whereas coronal holes are persistent. Okay, so coronal holes. I call Mandela on coronal holes. So I kind of heard a little chit-chat about this coronal hole like recently, but I just thought it was solar flares because I've never heard of there being any danger during the minimum time. Solar minimum was usually the quiet time when you didn't have to worry about any solar flares. So now we have coronal holes instead. So now I guess it's not safe anymore. All right, coronal hole. Now let's go to news. Coronal hole faces Earth. That was 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So what? There's nothing now? 2026. All right. January 28th. Okay, here we go. Incoming solar wind brings aurora chance today. That was the day that just passed for me. Auroras are possible tonight, which would be like now, with the arrival of fast solar wind from a coronal hole, an area of lower density. Already the speed of the solar wind reaching Earth this morning. NOAA has issued an alert for a G1 geomagnetic storm, which could bring auroral displays in northern latitudes like Montana and Maine. You know, minor geomagnetic storms did not used to make auroras in the United States, so this is crazy. In fact, nothing used to make auroras in the United States. Sun activity low. So a G1 is minor, though. That's a minor blast. And we're not getting it all the way down to like California like we did not too long ago. Okay, so there's a coronal hole, but it's not that big a deal, I guess. Some shit I never heard about before. I'm sorry. Pardon my French, as we used to say in the old days. I think I'm discombobulated, having missed my beautiful computer. This computer has been the saving grace for a couple years now. And I was crying, then I had to set up the other one, and I didn't have a printer on it, and then the printer didn't want to talk to that computer, and I got this one back finally today, and then the monitor didn't want to talk with the computer. I'm like, this is the same monitor you've always had. I finally figured it out, and it was me being stupid because I plugged it in the wrong place. Fix the lagging. I have no idea how to fix the lagging. What lagging? YouTube is not receiving a video. What's the problem? Why? I don't know why. What would be the problem here? One new hard drive and now I have video lagging. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, as the viewers will experience buffering. Why is it not? Hopefully I'm not showing any important stream keys on here. I don't think so. Open widget. The widget, all it does is say it's poor. That is absolutely not useful information. I don't know, one of you experts can explain to me, please, why there's a problem, because it always worked just fine before. So there's probably some setting on OBS that I need to fix, but I don't know what it is. Eva, you are cold? I don't know what that means. I don't know that. I'm not sure about that emoji. Oh, I keep freezing. You're lagging. Yeah, I don't know why. Let me see what my internet. No, that's not internet. My internet should be fine. It's always fine. Yeah, you're right, huh? Let me think. What might be causing that? Maybe, I don't know. You know, I need my, like, techie gurus. You know, it's the same internet I've always had, so I don't know. Maybe it's not sending enough. You know, the only thing I could think of is there's something to do with OBS settings. Video capture. Video capture. Okay, let me see about video capture here. Webcam. Resolution. Custom. I don't, okay, match output. No, I'm not sure. Configure video. You know, there's probably something I need to do on this configure video, but I have no idea what it is. Oh, I see I can change the brightness. That looks better. Oh, sharpness. Power line frequency. I don't know. Okay, so that's not anything to do with the resolution. Okay, wait. Custom resolution. I don't know. Does that help any? All right, I'll try this. Any? Okay. Wait, why is that way over there now? That is not how I said it. I screwed it up. Hold on. There. I think that's more like it. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Is it any better? Or is it still screwed up? Tell me it's better. Is it still lagging? Something is awry. I have something to do with your video count. Yeah. But what? Yeah, it's the sun. I don't think so. I think it's probably the new OBS settings is probably not ideal. The camera is, I think, just, I literally didn't change anything about the camera. The camera was clicked on, like snapped onto this monitor. I unplugged it from the computer, dragged the computer away, and then I dragged the new computer, well, the old computer with the new hard drive back, and I plugged it back in. So that's it. So it's either, and I don't think the hard drive has anything to do with it. It's OBS. So then I downloaded a new OBS, and here we are. So my settings are probably not the same because I can't remember what the settings were before. Is it still lagging, or I don't know? Help me out. I have no idea. Studio mode. What is that? Oh, it's that. Okay, never mind. Scene transitions, properties. Some smart person needs to help me. Still frozen. Maybe it's the transmission mode. Let's see. Settings. I don't even know where stuff is in here. Channel. No, that's not what we want. You know, everything's like in a little bit different place too. So there's settings. It's actually not in a different place. Updates, output. Projector, system tray. Stream. Let's try stream. Stream. YouTube. Primary YouTube. Advanced. Ignore service setting. Maximum. Yeah. Video. Oh, here. Maybe this. Can I change that? Oh. I don't know. I think maybe the FPS rate has to change, but I can't change it now. So like it's not giving me the option to change it. But if somebody actually knows the answer, then maybe put it in the comments and then I can look at that. Okay. All right. This is a weird thing. You know, all that yammer about, oh no, Trump the Orange is tearing down the East Wing of, like, the White House, the East Wing that I never even knew existed. And I pointed that out a few weeks ago. Well, not only did I not know about it existing, because I just thought the East Wing was the east side of the building, but no, there's these huge long things on the side that are the wings now. But so they tore down something that I'm pretty sure didn't exist in my old timeline. But not only that, but it turns out that underneath there was a nuke bunker. There was PEOC, which is a nuclear hideout bunker under the East Wing. All this time, there's been a nuclear bunker under there. Has anybody ever heard of there being a nuclear bunker underneath the White House, East Wing? Shelter and communication center called Presidential Emergency Operations Center. So apparently during 9/11, they stored a bunch of the government under there and all. I don't think that was in my old timeline. Duh, they hid Donald Trump in there during the George Floyd protest. After his time in the bunker was reported in the news, the Orange demanded that officials find and prosecute those responsible for the information getting to the press. Orange's Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, described in his 2022 book that Trump stated the person who leaked his whereabouts should be tried for treason and should be executed. Okay. Anybody ever heard any of that stuff? In 2025, CBS reported that PEOC was planned to be upgraded by the White House Military Office. Okay, that's right here on Wiki, yet it just happens to correspond with the new ballroom. In January 2026, CNN reported that PEOC had been demolished along with the rest of the East Wing to make way for the new facility with more modern technology. Little is known about the upgrades, but it was stated National Capital Planning Commission, that the project will deliver resilient, adaptive infrastructure aligned with future mission needs. Blah, 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 blah. I have not heard boo about this in the news either. It's just all, mean old Orange is tearing down the ballroom without permission. I'm pretty sure now that this indicates that, at least in this timeline, this was planned as probably an upgrade to that bottom structure. So one thing I did see a few weeks ago was somebody really dug into the backgrounds of the companies doing the ballroom renovation, and they were all companies that specialize in data centers and stuff. And in fact, all the architectural guys and stuff, they were all let go. They're not working on this project. So anybody that you would expect to actually be designing a ballroom is not involved in this project. So I'm pretty sure that the main point here is to actually redo this nuke bunker and who knows what all they're putting under there. Seems like bandwidth too high. OBS can't keep up. Bandwidth too high. Restart the stream. I don't think that's going to help if the settings are off. So, so you think it's too high, sending too high? I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's where George Bush and Cheney went during 9/11. I don't remember that. That's bizarre. Okay. See, it says here YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So I think I need to send more video. Bandwidth too high. OBS can't. Why wouldn't OBS? See, OBS had no problem keeping up before. So is this new OBS dumber, or I just have a setting where it's not sending enough? I'm thinking maybe I just have it set where it's not sending enough, because the rest of the computer is screaming fast as it always has been now with the new hard drive. And this new hard drive is actually better than the old one. All right, so I don't remember the wing. I don't remember the nuclear bunker. I don't remember PIOC. I've never heard of it. But Jackie found an organism with a chainsaw-like mouth. Now, to be clear, this is not that dinosaur shark from before. It's now in the current reality. This little creature has like this chainsaw, double chainsaw functioning mouth thing. It's pretty cool. It's called a bedelloid rotifer. Now, the sucky part is if the video is not working, you're not going to see maybe that these things are spinning around like giant chainsaws. It's pretty cool, though. I'm kind of like... So apparently it can suck that back in. I didn't even realize that. I haven't watched this all the way through. There it goes again. Cool. I guess video is not going to come out good today. This little guy is called the bedelloid rotifer. It's an aquatic microorganism and is known for these bizarre chainsaw-like cilia it uses to move around and eat. These two spinning structures you see, they're called ciliated coronae. Two coronas now. Two more are past the sun. And they help create water currents to pull in food particles. Yeah, see, but like I said, I remember there being an east wing and a west wing, but I don't remember them being big, long things. It used to just be the west side of the building, the east side of the building. So if you have a building and you have a hall down the middle, you can say that's the west wing, this is the east wing. But now... So yeah, they said we east wing, west wing. It wasn't the thing that it now is. I mean, even look at this. Okay, what is this image here? This logo. What is this? This is what I remember the White House looking like. There was East Wing, West Wing. I don't know which one is which, but that's always been the image of the White House. But that's not the White House now. And see, like this is always what we would see. Now, it's just kind of convenient that there's all these trees. I looked at the White House a bajillion effing times over the last couple of years because it does keep shifting around. Other issues keep shifting around, okay? But then the last time I went to look at it, suddenly there's these. These are the wings now, not these. And I'm like, wait, what are those things? Because I actually went to see, like, what are they demolishing when they said that they're demolishing the East Wing in order to put in a ballroom. I'm like, what are they demolishing? And so I pull up the White House, and now there's this. And those just weren't there originally. And see, all I did was type in the White House. I haven't typed anything weird. But now, like, this comes up. These images just weren't there before. So these are the two wings now, and one of these is being demolished. I think it was, which side was it? I can't remember which side was the East Wing. So they're just as big as the center thing almost. In fact, these look different than last time I looked, because last time I looked, it looked like it came and then curved around. It is different. Okay, it's different. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they just built that, but this is, this is probably not a brand new image. I don't think they've even finished. Last time I looked, it kind of went like this and then kind of like this, and then these pieces were smaller. That one's almost as big as that one, the middle. So when you see an image of the White House, it never had all this stuff. Even the logo doesn't have it. But before you say I was too stupid to see it, I would, if you asked me 8 years ago, if maybe I just didn't notice those long wings, I would have accepted that because I didn't pay a lot of attention to the White House. But I have been looking at images of the White House for years now, over and over and over. And you can see that all I typed in was White House. I didn't type in wings or anything. And none of this stuff ever showed before. So that it's just crazy to me. You can totally, this is bizarre because they were, I actually last time I was thinking they're kind of like wings because they're a little curved. They curved around a little like this, and it kind of reminded me of some of the promenades that you see from the old Greek, where there would be a main building and then like this side wings, and they do usually curve around, and when you come up you kind of see it all arced around, and they have some of that in Balboa Park like that, and it looked like that, but they're straight now. So they've changed again since last time I looked at it. This is just crazy town. Aerial top of the way. Where's the side wings on this one now? There's one. Where's the other one? Wait, that's not the one I just looked at. There, see, like, what's over here? They're supposed to be over here then. Is this like not? I'm confused now because that image is missing. We just can't see it from there. I'm confused. All right, wait. All right, we look here. We see there's buildings on each side. The flags in the back, there and there. But here, this can't be it because it doesn't have the side pieces. It doesn't have it on either. I mean, it doesn't look like an old image. Something's fishy. Maybe that's AI? Is there really a bunch of buildings like right here next to the White House? I don't think there are. This one, there's something up with this one. Some of these Adobe ones are pretty bizarre. That's just weird to me that it's like from my old timeline or something. Because those wings go way back in this timeline. It's not like they just put them in 20 years ago or something. That was part of the big stink. All right, here is another image. Now see, that's the low side wings there. They're hidden. But you can still kind of see it. Now I'm confused why that is not there. Even other images that get pulled up show the side. Okay, let me see that one. See, you can see it there and there. That's impossible. Okay, what about that one? No. Yeah, that one's a scam from my old timeline. That one still has it. Oh, bizarre. Let's see, you can... So there's one on there that looks very realistic, but it must be AI or something in this timeline. I feel like it's a blast from the past, though. See, that one doesn't have it either. It's another Adobe, stock Adobe. Oh, weird. Adobe remembers the old timeline. He created a lot of havoc in Minneapolis. Yeah, you know, I think both sides had their share in that. I mean, it's kind of weird. ICE deportation numbers are very similar to the deportation numbers under Obama. So, like, this whole thing that ICE is doing all this, nobody complained under Obama, and they just operated quietly. Now, the left is going insane over it. So it's hard for me to really take it seriously because they didn't care until Trump was in charge. All these deportations were going on for a long time, and only when Trump started bragging about it, they're out there causing a big mess. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not saying Trump doesn't stir up a lot of division, because he certainly does, but he's not the only one that's involved in that division. They kind of feed off each other. You know, Trump does this, and they both get their glee. Both sides get their glee and just being contrarian and whatever you want, I don't want it. So if Trump goes to McDonald's, they're going to boycott McDonald's. If the Tesla owner tries to help Trump, then they're going to burn down Teslas and attack them on the road. That is the craziest crap, actually, way more crazy than this stuff. That's when I realized the far left had completely lost their mind when they were attacking Teslas. So I don't, you know, the whole thing that Trump's all to blame, he's certainly not blameless, but it takes two to tango. So no, you know what? The wings have not been removed. So when they took down, like they demolished the east wing, but it was only the piece on the end, like the center strip part should still be there. It is still there. One-third of sufferers died during the acute phase. What are we talking about here? All right, we got you. This thing is also pretty interesting. Another one that Jackie found. The Cave of Death. Why Costa Rica's Cueva de la Muerte, which means Cave of Death, kills all that enters. So I've seen them like ones where there's a bunch of methane in there that kills you. But this one has like a cloud of carbon dioxide that sits on the ground and smothers everything to death. So fire needs oxygen, right? We don't need the sound. Let's see if I can make it larger. So this guy has a fire and a stick. So apparently animals just stroll in here and then they just die because he's going to lower this fire and then it's going to snuff out the minute it hits the carbon dioxide. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Okay, quit talking, more snuffing. All right, here he goes, getting ready to snuff. So it just goes out, and then this smoke apparently then hangs out with the carbon dioxide more, so it follows the carbon dioxide out. So that shows where all the deadly carbon dioxide is. So I feel like in my old timeline, this stuff would have all like mixed together, but in this timeline, they just sit in their separate layers, like additional pools of water. So look at this, and then it's crazy town. Yeah, so the fire goes out because down here there's no oxygen. And the way the lungs are now, it's not actual oxygen that tells you that your body doesn't read oxygen levels and tell you that you're suffocating to death. I guess it reads carbon dioxide levels or something last I checked, which normally are in inverse with oxygen levels. But basically you don't really realize there's any problem until you're dead is I guess what happens here. They just pass out and die. So that's why it's the cave of death. If you go in there and you get too low here, and I don't know, maybe back in here there's like more carbon dioxide when you go down. This is just pouring out. I really actually couldn't find much video or anything of this. I hope that video didn't suck too bad. If anybody knows what setting I need to change on OBS, I need to get back with my Signal chat, but I've lost my Signal account off the hard drive too, so I have to get a new Signal account, and then I have to contact the people to add my new one, because there's a couple of people in there that might be able to tell me how to fix this problem. The thing is, I couldn't figure out that problem until I actually started the stream, you know, so apologies for that. I thought the wings were curved too. These long, skinny, straight ones look strange. Yeah, and the buildings on the end are bigger. Deadly new contagion from India. What is it? Freezes. Maybe that's like that weird stone sickness people were talking about. Yeah, this is getting me. I'm thinking maybe this is AI. AI is getting so good now. It's getting a lot harder to tell. Like, you know, I'm using common sense more. Like I used to just go, hey, look, that guy's got 6 fingers, or oh, look, that molding magically stops and turns into paper towels or something. But now it's like, well, who would put a toilet in that part of the room, or how come there's no toilet paper dispenser near the toilet? Those are things that, like, theoretically a human could do but probably would not, are what I'm using now. My knowledge of humanity and how we behave is now what I'm using to ID AI. And it's not perfect, because every now and then there's just some weird setup in some building that just looks stupid as heck, and it isn't AI. But that's where we're at now, that AI doesn't understand human nature yet, so it can't it doesn't understand what the purpose of a toilet is, right? So it doesn't always set it out right, or there's not enough places for the leg room or something like that. So I guess that's where we're at now, and it seems like 99% of the people are fooled by AI every time. Like if you look at the comments, almost nobody is like, wait, that's AI. Even when I'm sure it's AI because something is really wonky, or I find like a little anomaly in the corner that is for sure AI, people get angry and they're like, you people are paranoid, always complaining about AI. And I'm like, well, look in the bottom left corner, there's blah, blah, blah. And then nobody wants to talk to me about it. They just ignore it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Lately, there's been a big spate of cute little AI videos where like a cat jumps out a window and falls into the snow and then pops his head up. And then one of the telltale little things is they'll have like a cute blob of snow on their head, and then sometimes they'll go and blow out a big cloud of like snow. Like, yeah, I don't think that they inhaled snow and then blew it out like a cloud. And then there was like a dog that got flour all on his head, and then he goes and then blows out like it's like a cartoon cloud almost. You know, it looks realistic, but we know as humans that a dog is not going to inhale a cloud of flour and then hoof it out like it's a cartoon. So it's but you know, surprising to me that 99% of people who watch that think it's real, even despite what I call the cartoon cloud, which you should know is not going to be real. And they'll still say you're paranoid if you point out that it's AI. So, let's see, do I have all this stuff on here? The Cave of Death. I don't think I have written all these. Yeah, I'll tell you right before the show, like an hour before the show, I was like so sleepy that I just could not do anything. Oh, I do have that on there. Okay, never mind. Just wanted to make sure I get it in the listing description. All right, Cave of Death. There's that thing. Okay, this is another Jackie one. These current ones are all Jackie ones. Visa logo. Okay. She said she doesn't remember this pointy edge thing that was here. And I don't either. And I actually don't remember it tipping to the side at all. I just remember it being upright with an ordinary V and upright. And so now we have that, and then there's a little one on this side too. And if you go back, it's always been there. 98, 92 to 99. It really even hasn't even changed that much. My childhood had it. Okay. Now, I don't really know if that one's right, but I think I might have been at 6, you know, at that age, I was not paying attention to those. But yeah, I don't think that's it. I think Visa has changed. I don't even remember seeing that one. That was there till 2014, that fold over thing. I don't think I've ever seen that. So yeah, Visa, Logopedia, Mandela. Okay, wait, the Contagion from India. I'm like short-brained here. I'm actually starting to wake up now. Okay, I might be able to do some actual work after this. Contagion, India. All right, we'll just try that and see. Nipah virus, Nipah. The virus was inspired the 2011 film Contagion. These films, first the film comes out, and then a virus comes out to match it, carried by fruit bats. Spreads to humans through infected animals, contaminated food, or person to person via close contact. Starts with fever, headache, blah, the regular. Progresses to encephalitis, seizures, and coma. Well, that sucks. Fatality rate is 75%. No treatments. 2 confirmed cases. Containment efforts. So it's like an encephalitis. Encephalitis is like a brain infection. Pandemic potential. You know, I'm just not worrying about it because these things keep showing up and then they magically change. Like what's that one? That bleeding one. That Ebola, and they were like 99.9% death rate, and there's no treatments, and blah blah blah. And then now there's like a vaccine, and there has been for a really long time, and it's now 75% survival, and it has been a long time, and somehow they never really escape. I feel like it's just like when you watch TV, there always has to be these impending threats that almost get you, but they don't quite get you. And that's what I feel about all these viruses, is like, oh, any minute now there's going to be a new pandemic, a suitcase nuke, a solar flare, a coronal hole, and blah, blah. They're all going to get you any minute, any minute. Ah, it's almost here. Ah. And then it doesn't come. Or it doesn't come in the full form. The air we breathe is mostly nitrogen, not oxygen. Yeah, which is new, and I've complained about that too. But you don't get like the nitrogen part is still not the part you need, is my point. It does help balance things, but the part that you need to like survive is still the oxygen. Ever been get frozen by a gray? You mean like an alien? No. Nope. I've never even seen a gray, frankly. Like in my dreams and stuff, I've seen other things that look like aliens, but I've never seen one that looks like a gray. I've seen weird stuff in the sky, but I've never seen anything on the ground that looked like an alien. Do I look like a gray alien? I'd have way bigger eyes. That would be nice. Well, not as big as a gray, thanks, but I would like to have bigger eyes. That's kind of a thing. I wonder if we're all going to get bigger eyes, because now they have those, the filters, and they make your eyes look big. Are you going to have a break from work? No, I never have a break from work, but basically sometimes I get less work done and then I get more behind, and that would be like right now. And usually after the show, I don't do any work because I'm all like shot out, and I do only a little bit of work. But I need to do a bunch of work, actually. So I need to, ideally, I will get a bunch done. Imagine 2 weeks off going live every day. Yeah, that's not, you know what, that some things would have to change in order to that happen, because it's just not going to happen. If I skip a bunch of work, then there's no money, you know. It's a problem, you know. The money does not fall from the sky. Even during the lockdowns, they didn't give any money to individual entrepreneur types. There was nothing. I know some people like myself, that individual entrepreneur types, and they claim that we could get help. And those people applied, like all of them applied. And there's this big ton of paperwork to apply. And none of them ever got a dime. There was always some lame-o excuse. Like I know one person applied to 8 different programs, and she was denied every last one of them. She was a hairstylist. And they were not allowed to cut hair during the lockdowns. Never got a dime. So, you know, and then the governor's up there bragging that everybody got help. It's a lie. They're all lying. Oh, you're talking about sleep paralysis? Yeah, I don't call sleep paralysis like gray aliens. I have had sleep paralysis. I've finally figured out how to kind of get through it so that I don't, I can break it. Now, since I figured out how to break through it and then not have it anymore, it hasn't come back. Now, I'm not saying that if it snuck back, I would necessarily succeed in breaking it the first time. I'm not sure of that. But it seems like I stomped it and now it's gone. I know it's scary when it happens, but I don't think I'm afraid of fear as much as a lot of people. I'm afraid then, but when I wake up, I'm like, that was interesting. You know, I mean, I don't go around going, I don't want it to happen again. I don't want to be scared. At least not for that. Every now and then there's certain things that I definitely don't want to happen. And I am kind of scared or anxious about the idea of those things happening. But it's usually more losing my house or, you know, something more substantial. Like sleep paralysis, I'm like, nothing really ever happens. So that's like not that. It's not a real danger, I guess is my point. It's just an emotion. So I'm not afraid of that fear so much. Yeah, actually, I think about it, that's got to be one of my less. Even like people thinking I'm stupid worries me more. Like, I don't want to look like an idiot. Okay, I don't think I care about other people as much as a lot of people do, but there's still certain things like I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to be like hated. I don't, but somehow those things seem worse than like abject terror in a sleep paralysis episode. So I guess it's a hierarchy thing. I don't want you to think I'm like totally fearless of all things, but that particular one doesn't really bother me that much. Scarlet elf cups. These things are really cool. This is the one that's all over the place too. I think they even had these in Northern California. So it's some kind of fungi, I guess. These are so cool. Look at these things. I mean, you saw that, you just think somebody, I don't know, what would you think? What would you think if you saw that? You're just walking along and those were there while you were stomping around in the forest. I'd be like, what in the F is that? Cup-shaped fungi found in damp, shady woodlands during winter and spring. Grow on decaying wood. Some consider them edible, some don't consider them edible. Others list them as inedible or suspect due to rough texture, lack of flavor, or digestive discomfort. Always cook thoroughly, blah, blah. Okay, so what, the timeline hasn't decided if they're edible, I guess? What are the sizes of these things? Doesn't, okay, that kind of gives an idea there. So pretty big. Looks like those are pretty large. Well, how big is this twig though? I actually, come to think of it, it's not that helpful. Okay, I think I know what that is. So these would be fairly big if this is what I think it is. Like they're cup-sized, I think. Anamorphic or imperfect fungi are those that seem to lack a sexual stage in their life cycle and typically reproduce by the process of mitosis. What the heck? Okay, so there's one that reproduces by mitosis instead of spores. Anamorph form. I'm confused. Wait. So what? No spores? Okay. Flattened or blunt-ended ascospores. Spores. Initially, the fruit bodies are spherical, and then later they are saucer or cup-shaped. These are one of the several fungi whose fruit bodies have been known to make a puffing sound, an audible manifestation of spore discharge where thousands of asci simultaneously explode to release a cloud of spores. So again, it's like a cartoon. Like, it's like poof, and then the spores come and they eat your brain. All right, why are they talking about this anamorph form? The teleomorph-anamorph relationship is established between the species. I'm totally confused. All right, there's similar species in other countries. You have one in Australia. Austria, I assume Austriaca, unless it's Austria. Similar species. Those look almost the same. Okay, those are in Central America, Caribbean. In North America, we have one. Micronesia? Macaronesian? What is that? Macaronesia. Okay, so they're freaking everywhere. I can't figure out what this yammer about the animorph form is, though. Fungi which do not fit into commonly established taxonomic classifications of fungi that are based on biological species concepts or morphological characteristics of sexual structures. Imperfect fungi. I have never heard of imperfect fungi before. So I guess their breeding and development is not through spores. Their asexual and vegetative phases are known. They have asexual form of reproduction, meaning these fungi produce spores asexually in the process called sporogenesis. Okay. Okay, so again, we have immaculate conception, except for it's via fungi. Edible imperfect fungi include Roquefort and Camembert cheese. Yeah. Okay. I'm a little skeptical of that, but having always been around, but who knows? I've had dreams of seeing weird things in the sky, but never saw any. So I've just seen like things up there that don't make sense. I've had some weird, more like paranormal style experiences, but I never actually, like a weird, one time in the living room of the old place, there was a shadow on the wall, a circle of a shadow. So I'm like watching TV, and on the wall is this, so it was about that big, and it was circular, and the edges were kind of fuzzy, and it was just moving along on the wall. But the thing is, like, if you have a bug anywhere between the light and there, it's not going to make a perfect circle. I mean, bugs are always flying around, and there's no large circles. It didn't fly like a bug, it more was floaty, but it was just a shadow. That was it. So I'm like looking between the light, which wasn't that far away, and the wall, and there's nothing in between, you know. So I even put my hand there to make a shadow, and my shadow had some effect on the wall with my actual hands, but the actual circle shadow was darker than even my hands could make, because the light was pretty diffuse. It was one of those, it's like one of those mini, not a chandelier, but it had like 4 lights on a cluster, so it made the light pretty diffuse, and it also made it really hard to have any kind of solid shadows. So this shadow was there without a shadow maker, and it was actually really creepy. And so I got up and I'm trying to figure it out, and somehow I wasn't as scared as you'd think, I guess because it was just a shadow. But, you know, I got more and more perplexed, because I'm like, there's got to be a logical explanation, but I just could not find anything that would describe that. And it never happened before or since. You know, I lived there for years. That was the living room. So I spent tons of time sitting on that couch watching that wall. It never happened again. It was at night. There was nothing weird outside of the window or anything. I mean, I've never heard of anything that can shoot a shadow. The only light source was that light behind. So it actually, this little ball, the shadow ball, it went behind the TV. So that's when it gets really weird, because you've got a TV that's blocking a lot of the light coming from the only light source, but yet the shadow still is darker than the shadow from the whole TV. and it goes back there, and then it kind of eventually gets into the really dark shadow of the TV, and then you can't see it anymore because it's finally as dark as the TV shadow. And then there's a door back there that basically I just kind of locked because it goes out some weird little side room, and that wasn't part of my house anymore. So it was like a storage room. So that was just locked, and you couldn't open it because there was shelving on the other side. And it kind of went over around there. Now, I don't know if it went through the crack in the door or what, but it did not show up again after that. It was like gone. But that was like one of the really weird paranormal things. It doesn't match anything, does it? I mean, like, has anybody ever heard of such a thing? So a lot of my paranormal experiences are sort of like that. Like, they don't really fit into anything I've ever heard of. Like, I didn't see a white ghost go, or, you know, it's just not like normal stuff. It's not explainable, but it doesn't have a name as a common phenomena. I mean, I've certainly never heard of anybody say they had a mystery circle shadow. Doink. Okay, this is really cool. I could have made this the thumbnail, but I already had the other thing the thumbnail. But apparently this tree, this is so cool. Look at this tree. So this is a natural tree. It's really, really old. It's called the thinking tree. I saw some sources said it was 2,000 years old. Some said it was 4,000 years old. It's pretty hard to know. Now that is fake there. Don't look at that one. I don't think that's it. It's is that real? I'm not sure, but it's this one. Stellar History, the Thinking Tree of Puglia. I've never seen this before. It's pretty cool. Ancient olive tree in Genosa, Puglia, Italy, famous for the face. Believed to be over 1,500 years old. Okay, so maybe not 4,000. It's kind of hard to age these trees. Some locals claim it could be 4,000 years old. It's interesting because it's kind of it is not that different from the thinker now too, because the thinker is kind of like that. So it looks like this was the main trunk, and it got cut down or fell off or whatever, and then some side weeds, some side sprigs grew, and those look like hair. So it's all very convenient. All right. Olive trees are one of the oldest lived trees too, so it could be really old. I'm a little suspicious if they always could live 4,000 years, but they were always long lived. All right. Puglia. All right, I think I got all the... No, I didn't do these ones. Okay. Personal Mandela was... I don't know if you remember me talking about this, but I was talking about this horse that showed up on one of the shows I watch about horse training, and it was the Akal Teki horse. That it was it was the ancestor of the Arabian at that time. That's what they said it was, the ancestor of the Arabian, or the likely ancestor, and they were very, very rare. And it had this beautiful jump, this floating gait. I might have even played it on here. Well, that YouTuber re-uploaded that video, and I was like, I saw this video before. So first I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, this is not a new video, right? But he didn't say on there that it was a re-upload. So I went back in his history, and indeed it was a re-upload from about 3 years ago. But I watched both the original and the new one, and there are some definite changes in there. first of all, it's not an Akalteki anymore. Now it's an Egyptian Arab, which was not a horse I've ever heard of. And I even looked into these because of the Akalteki. So it's not an Akalteki anymore. It's Egyptian Arab. And the one that was the Akalteki had some severe ligament problems, and that stuck in my head because I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful horse that with this beautiful floating gait, but maybe they're prone to like ligament problems. That would suck. But this horse now, it has the same beautiful floating gait, and most of the video is the same. There's a few little details where there was one point where he just circles really close around the person as if they're lunging it, but they weren't. And it did that a lot more in the old reality. Now it just does it a few times. And it has this, it's still white. The face is more dished like the Arabs are now. And it's an Egyptian Arab, so I don't know. So now when you look up Arabs, they'll say that there's Spanish Arabs, Egyptian Arabs. So there's like separate little Arab breeds according to like they got them originally probably from Egypt, and then they were bred so much that they're not considered the same as the ones from the homeland. But Egyptian Arabs are, I guess, like the original Arabs, and they call them Egyptian Arabs. I don't know. It's just bizarre. All that stuff showed up now that I'm looking, but it wasn't there before. But I'm sure that was an Akalteki, because that's how I learned what an Akalteki was from that show. Is they're like, this is an Akalteki. And I'm like, what in the F is an Akalteki? Well, now it's not. I'm kind of glad he didn't have ligament problems, though. There was some other stupid little problem, but it wasn't like a serious problem that he had in this reality. So that was bizarre, though. It's just bizarre when these videos come back around and they've magically changed. Because like I said, I went back and I looked at the upload of the one from 3 years ago, the absolute original. And yeah, I'm sure that was the same video, because there was a bunch of specific things, somewhat unusual things that happened in that show that didn't happen, that did happen in this one also. Just the details change. So another bizarre magic video change. Okay, one other thing. Let me just see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry about the lagging. Hopefully somebody can tell me what's wrong. It's kind of hard because I can't really test it until I actually have the stream. My achievements are being reduced to absurdity. I repaired a bag. It took me a while. Days later, there was no sign of the repair. The initial state was restored, as I've never done it. That would be so irritating. I have not had that happen. I've had like things change. Like I pulled out my cell phone and now there's the camera little dot used to be black, like dark. So the whole thing was black. And now it's like white almost. It's like silvery white. I'm like, why is there a big spot on my camera, on my phone? And it just magically changed. I don't know. All right, the last thing was the U.S. Virgin Islands. A lot of people don't remember those existing. Certainly not as a U.S. territory. There's the Virgin Islands that existed, but that's different than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Last I checked. Let me just make sure it's still true. Oh, yeah, the Virgin Islands are in the Caribbean. Split between two territories, the British Virgin Islands and the United States Virgin Islands. The British Virgin Islands have 60 islands. The United States Virgin Islands have 4 main islands. St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas, and Water Island. Oh, I don't remember Water Island being on there. Okay, so I don't remember it being a U.S. Like you're a citizen. The U.S. governs U.S. Virgin Islands under federal jurisdiction. English. Let's see. Let me just see. United States Virgin Islands. Last I checked, it was kind of like Puerto Rico. The U.S. Virgin Islands consist of St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas, and 50 other surrounding minor islands. So now they're not including Water Island in there. Interesting. I wonder if Water Island's getting bigger and it's sneaking its way in. Okay, this is what I don't remember. They were sold to the United States from Denmark for $25 million in 1970. And what was that by... was it? Who was that? Anyways, the story then apparently is, this thing that the orange Trump has been doing with pressuring Denmark to cough up Greenland. Apparently, we did this before, and that's how we got the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, which a lot of people don't remember us having property over there. So supposedly, they're kind of